today's video, I am celebrating having just published my 10th class on Skillshare, and I really wanted this video to be about reflecting on the journey in the hopes of inspiring other aspiring teachers to go ahead and just film their first class. We're going to be breaking things down step by step, so of course there are timestamps in the description box below so that you can jump around if you need to and really get the info that you need to get cracking with your online teaching journey. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Megs, and every week I release tech tutorials helping you do digital better. So let's start off with how I got started. I have spoken a little bit about this previously on some of my other YouTube videos, which I can link, but to bring you up to speed, I launched my very first course on a self-hosting platform which was called Teachable, that was all about social media marketing. So it worked through each and every one of the various platforms, how to use them within your business or on behalf of someone else, leveraging them as though you were working as a freelancer or potentially within an agency. So the course was really my first foray into the online education world, and I feel like I really overcomplicated it quite a lot. So first of all, I would not suggest self-hosting for your very first course. There are two very different ways to teach online. The first is teaching on a marketplace like Skillshare or Udemy, and then there's self-hosting, which is teaching your own flagship course. And the reason why a marketplace is typically an easier point of departure is because it's really all about fishing where the fish already are. So there are already people on that platform searching for courses like yours. And especially in the case of Skillshare, because people are not paying for each and every course individually, they're actually paying a flat monthly fee. And so it's therefore very much more likely that they're going to take many courses and not just one. So it's really low commitment on the part of the user from both a time and financial perspective, which is so great for you as a first off instructor. So I had no following, I had not yet started my YouTube channel, and I was trying to encourage people to go to a website and then spend money on it with an unknown teacher. So it really did feel like a hard sell. So what I love about Skillshare is the fact that there's that super low barrier to entry, both from the student and from the teacher perspective, which makes it a far more obvious choice when you're getting started. Secondly, Skillshare offers a lot of free resources to their teachers to get started. So they've got a Teach with Skillshare account. They have a resource center with absolutely everything you would ever need to know to get started. Plus, all of the intro videos are freely accessible. So you can literally creep any course or class on Skillshare and see how other instructors are teaching the topics. And to a certain degree, you can also gauge interest on a topic based on how many students each class gets. Nevertheless, I reshot my course into a shorter, punchier format and uploaded it around May of 2020. And by about July of 2020, I was already earning enough from Skillshare to pay my rent, which was really all the validation that I needed to keep on going. So you will see that my class topics have remained focused around social media marketing, which is the industry which I have worked in for the last 10 years. And by this time, I had then launched a YouTube channel, which means that I'm actively able to hone my filming and editing skills, and this made it a lot easier to create courses in the future. So whilst I feel like these are the kinds of things that are quite overwhelming up front, they shouldn't put you off. There are a lot of tools which make this whole part very much easier, and I will get into those later on in this video. So the other part that I really like about Skillshare that doesn't complicate things is you don't have to be at pains to come up with a company name. So I chose to operate under Do Digital, and I actually set about registering it as a Pty Limited here in South Africa where I am based. But this is absolutely not necessary, and I would recommend teaching in your personal capacity up front until that this is a step that you actually want to take. So with Skillshare, you're only actually allowed to teach under your own name, which really removes so much of this complication and allows you to focus on pouring your creativity into the class title and the class description. Thirdly, Skillshare encourages classes of between 20 and 40 minutes. So this means you can really spend a lot of time and energy crafting shorter classes that are more highly engaging, rather than trying to generate super long classes which are daunting to produce and, to be frank, often just are not going to be a great experience for your students either. So I think this really kind of speaks to the mantra of KISS, or keep it simple, stupid. So courses need not be long and involved, and I would really suggest rather making a series of classes if the topic is complicated. So my first advice is really going to be leaning into these resources provided by Skillshare, keeping it simple and not overthinking each and every aspect of a class. So remember that you can always update the course if it takes off, and you can invest much more time and resources into this once your MVP, or minimum viable product, has really proven its kind of use case. And this is going to become easier with time as you get confident speaking on camera, better at editing, and better at producing videos. So topic number 2 is how to find what you're wanting to teach. So because I'd already taught social media marketing, I was super set on that particular topic. But ideally, you'd want to do your own investigative journalism on the platform to work out demand for that topic. So you may have already heard the age-old marketing saying, which is, there may be a gap in the market, but is there a market in the gap? And this is really ringing true on Skillshare. So you probably do not want to be the very first person to teach something. You rather want to be finding a niche which is well within your ability to teach, but has decent competition on the platform, because this is really going to indicate that there is indeed interest in that topic on Skillshare. Bear in mind too that Skillshare is typically home to the more creative topics like watercolors, animations, and, you guessed it, social media marketing. So I know of people who teach things like development and tech stacks who are more often than not raving about Udemy. So you want to be sure that your topic is going to feel at home amongst the other ones that are on Skillshare. Things to note would be the number of instructors teaching the topic, how many students those courses have, and if there are any Skillshare Originals, staff picks, or top teachers in that niche. So Skillshare Originals denotes that Skillshare has actually commissioned or worked with an organization to produce a particular class. Staff picks, on the other hand, are independently created courses who've received the ultimate stamp of approval from Skillshare. And finally, top teachers are the creme de la creme when it comes to the teaching professionals operating on Skillshare. So Skillshare is supporting them directly with their own account managers, and they get great visibility on the platform for the top-notch courses that they are creating. And all three of these are really good indications of interest from both Skillshare as a brand as well as its community. You could also use Google Trends to see broader search trends and make informed decisions from there. I'm part of a community called Skillshare's Teach Core, which is predominantly a Slack community of about 300 teachers who've been invited to join, and this is a super helpful community for encouragement and motivation. So I will show you the Slack channels. They are really cool things like Celebrate, New Class Launch, as well as class planning and production. So all of these are really serving to help me to support my fellow Skillshare teachers and share tips too. So generally, these are the people who are aiming to become top teachers, and the support within this tribe can really help to get us all there. But I will let you in on the step-by-step process that I typically use, and it really does sum up the experience of creating a course in the most succinct way. And it is plan, produce, publish, and promote. That is really what the Skillshare course creation process looks like end to end. So how to structure the course, or our first P, plan, is assuming that you've now decided on a course topic, you're going to have to structure the course. And the main thing to bear in mind here is that you want to be breaking your course up into digestible chunks. So they're digestible for you as the teacher as well as your student to consume those. So if, for example, you were aiming for a 40-minute class length, you would go for 8 5-minute class chunks. This is not a perfect science. You are really just striving for a goal here, but it means that a student's going to be able to jump into a particular section, much like how timestamps work on YouTube, or simply just have the opportunity to take breaks between your sections. So maybe they want to write notes, digest what's being taught, and so forth. I like scripting my courses, and I use a very rudimentary teleprompter and teleprompter app, which means that you can actually read off the screen. Otherwise, you could do bullet points. So you really don't want to be doing anything too off the cuff, except maybe for a demo, which is a bit more structured in its nature because you're taking someone through a user flow. But it's recommended that you're really going to use your intro video and loads of B-roll to entice people into the course, and then have a structured course throughout. So this intro video is the one that's freely available with or without a Skillshare subscription, and this is also very easily used as an upload into YouTube to support the launch of your course. So it's really super important and should be the most produced piece of video content, and is ideally done actually at the end. So you also have to ensure that you have a project video, which is going to describe a task you want your students to undertake. This is because learning is, of course, best done by doing. So you want to give someone a very carefully thought through task, and you also want to create a thank you video at the very end. So that's going to be thanking your students for spending the time with you and choosing to learn the skill from you. Other things that you want to be specifically aware of in Skillshare is not to brand any of your slides, wear a branding t-shirt, have anything branded in the background of your course, and bearing in mind that it's really all about you and your personality as an instructor. So in the same vein, you're going to have to limit any self-promotion to the first and last videos in your course. For example, encouraging people to subscribe to your YouTube channel or anything like that. Next up, let's talk about the second P, which is produce. So this could be the scariest part, as it actually involves sitting down and filming. Eek! I would suggest doing several trial runs and making sure that you watch back the footage before filming the final time. So basic things are very obvious at this point, like awkward shadows, bad acoustics, or something distracting in your frame. You can also work out how to present in a way that is most engaging to your students. So like I said, I do use a teleprompter and a teleprompter app. So even trying to work out things like the speed that I need to run the teleprompter at is something I have to get right at this phase. So whilst top-notch equipment is not necessary, you can of course film on your phone, and with screen share, you do need to be very cognizant of your audio. So your audio has to be really good for people to want to spend extended periods of time listening to you. So I love using a Rode video mic, and that's the Pro version. And although my camera is entry level, I think it's a Canon EOS RP, it has a 50mm lens, and I really enjoy using it, so it's perfect. For screen recordings, I either use Loom or the native Windows screen recording tool, and it's probably a good idea to also film your intro and outro videos with a different angle. It can be 2 separate takes so that you don't need 2 phones or 2 cameras, and that allows you to cut to another camera and add some visual interest as far as possible, particularly up front. So once you've finished your filming, definitely back up all of your footage in multiple places. I like to upload it to my computer, and I use Dropbox to make sure nothing gets lost. I then spend the time rewatching and making sure there's nothing that I need to reshoot. I edit using Vinci Resolve, which is completely free and absolutely amazing, but if you are a first-time video editor, I would suggest rather using Camtasia Studio for Windows and iMovie for Mac. So these are really the best for getting the hang of the basics. There are also loads of free tutorials on YouTube, and of course lots of classes on Skillshare, so whilst it can feel daunting, you do eventually get the hang of things. I've also been giving Descript a go, which is really a lovely beginner's tool, which actually helps you to edit from a transcript as opposed to that more conventional timeline look and feel. So definitely check that out too. Finally, for the last 2 P's, publish and promote, let's chat about uploading all of the edited videos to Skillshare. So you have to upload your videos as well as your resources, fill in your class description as well as your class title at this point. So whilst this is straightforward. It can be time consuming because of course your internet upload speed is going to play into this, and you want to give yourself the time to get it right. I do sometimes have to use a secondary tool called Handbrake. So sometimes Skillshare will give me a frame rate issue, and so keep Handbrake in your back pocket in case this happens to you. It's completely free. And then finally, promote. So you're able to generate free access links for your class, which helps you to get the initial students into the class. So although you're not paid for their initial watch time, it's going to be giving you that credibility that students are in the course and taking it. You also do get a share link, which works much like an affiliate link, where you get $10 US for every student referred who then successfully signs up. And you can leverage your email database if you have one, your social media networks, and yes, even paid social ads if you would like. It's really, really important that the second you publish, you do start your promotion process, because you really want to let Skillshare know that the course is getting interest and help you along in the algorithm. So Skillshare does give you a little bit of a push when it comes to that first publish, but don't be disheartened. So this phase can be challenging. It is all about obviously putting yourself out there, and don't worry about it. In time, people are really going to start following you on Skillshare, and then you can post frequently on the Skillshare platform as well to encourage students to take your course. Finally, let's chat about the juiciest part of the process, which of course is getting paid. So previously Skillshare was using a service called PayPal, which was going to be paying all of its instructors. Now it's using Tipalti. So to be honest, I'd never heard of this platform and was really worried about the changeover, especially being in South Africa. I was worried about compatibility issues, and now I actually get paid faster. So around the 17th of the month, I get an email notifying me that Skillshare has submitted a payment to me. I then claim the payment and it gets paid directly into my bank account. So your earnings are obviously going to fluctuate month to month because Skillshare is splitting a portion of that month's earnings with its community. So the pool is actually changing in size, and so is your piece of the pie. So if your classes, for example, contributed 0.01% of the total platform's watch time, you're going to get 0.01% of the teacher's payment allocation. So you can see what my rough earnings are each month. They are currently hovering around between $400 US and $630 US, and this is split up between premium watch time as well as how many people have signed up using my link. So I use my link in all my YouTube videos, including this one. So clicking the link below is of course going to really help support me, and subscribing to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. So in my next video, I'm actually planning on breaking down all of my Skillshare earnings across the board. So if you do want more insight into Skillshare earnings, then please be sure to stick around for that. I hope the video has given you a good understanding of how to get started with Skillshare. I am of course always here to answer any questions, so please do pop them down below, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video. Bye!